All right, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is, or whenever it is, wherever you are. My name is Major Peyton Holtz. I'm the XO for 1501st down at JBear, one Geronimo. We just completed our sustainment terrain walk with General Burke, the DCGS for the 11th Airborne Division, just yesterday, the 8th of May, 2024. We were able to share a TTP that we've been using to manage our automotive bay space and our mechanic teams kind of by extension. Yesterday, I've shared this locally with some of the units here, but we're trying to share this a little bit more broadly. And so I'm recording this in hopes that it can talk some other teams on to use this if it seems helpful in your particular context. Overall, a couple of the problems that we were trying to solve here in One Geronimo were ultimately managing base space and mechanics as limited resources, making sure that we're being deliberate about repairing the right things in the right sequence based on the space and hands we have available. The second was to try to be a little bit more predictive and frankly, driving the process of maintenance operations versus sort of discovering how long things take and being able to build out one or two or three orders, instead of just sort of knowing what's in the bay today, being able to predict when things can get in and make reasonable judgments about when we can actually get down the line a little bit in our OML, so to speak, or our queue of vehicles that need to be repaired. And the last thing, and I think it's a struggle for everybody right now, is just facilitating increased ownership and communication between operators and the maintenance team overall. So my point of contact is here at the bottom. I'll be leaving One Geronimo here in just a week or so as the XO, but I'm certainly available to discuss this or anything else and try to help anybody who's got a problem out there. My MCO, maintenance platoon leader, Jack Foster, is also available to help. Super smart guy, super competent officer and technician down there, and can help talk folks on to the process as well. In the absence of a maintenance warrant, Jack Foster has been holding up our maintenance program as a brand new second lieutenant in the Army and has done a fantastic job. So appreciate all the work from Jack and his whole team down there. With that, we'll jump right into what the heck we're talking about. So on our teams page for the battalion, under our Geronimo main team, there's a tab for us, maintenance, or a channel rather, maintenance operations. If we go to maintenance operations, there's a couple of tabs across the top. One is the auto bay planner, and then one is the SOP for the auto bay planner. If you want to create what I'm about to show you in terms of the auto bay planner, the way you do that is you would just go up to whatever tab, and you would create a new planner using the planner app, and then you would format it in a way that works for you. And based on what I'll show you, that's at least one TTP. So I will blow this up and we can go through it. So once a vehicle has been on the ESR, the faults have been reported, or it's popped up for services or whatever the case may be. So it's either NMCM and we have the parts on hand, we're ready to do the repair, or it's available to come into the bay for services and is due for services. In those cases, a company XO or a platoon leader, ideally, either way, the owner of the vehicle, not the maintenance team, will go in and they will add it to the list of our priority NMCMs or priority repairs. And the overall layout of this, by the way, is this is in a board view right now. So first column is priority NMCMs. Next is anything that needs a road test. We have an unscheduled repairs are complete, so maybe that means it doesn't need a road test, but the repair is complete. And then across the top, you'll see the Sierra 1, 2, 3. Those go all the way out to 9. Those represent our specific bays that are available and that crews are assigned to, mechanic crews. And then we get over into the uniform 1, 2, 3, and so on all the way out. And those are our unscheduled services bay. So we'll see, in this bay, for example, in uniform 1, there's an HHC vehicle that happens to be their top priority vehicle. It's an unscheduled repair in an unscheduled bay versus a service that's scheduled in a services bay. And we know that vehicle is HHC 92. And their XO Lieutenant Smoot or Captain Smoot is attached to that. Theoretically, it should have been completed on the 24th of April. So not sure why that's overdue right now. We could look in the comments. I'll show you in a second, and maybe get some greater fidelity on why that's not fixed at this stage yet or not. But either way, with all these columns on the board, step one is owner, XO, platoon leader, whoever. Ideally, really the crew, the TC of the crew would even be better than that, goes in and they create the demand for getting this thing into services with a mechanic. And the way they do that, again, it's NMCM or it needs a repair. And let's just say, for example, that the scout platoon leader's vehicle is broken. We did a PMCS, we've identified a fault, we've got it on the ESR, we know the parts are in, so we're ready. So we're gonna put Scout 6 in, and we're gonna create that task. When we do that, I'll open it up. So because it's a Scout vehicle, let's say that I'm the Scout PL, I'll tag myself, and then I'll tag my XO over in HHC to make sure that he knows what's going on. We'll add some labels. I'll show you why this is important here in a few minutes. This will let us sort things to make it easier for company commanders, platoon leaders, whoever, to look at the statuses and track the stuff that's their stuff, and so on. So in this case, it's an HHC vehicle. This vehicle is actually really important to me. So the next one in the queue over here for HHC that's a priority one is one of our FLAs. So I think maybe I'll talk to my XO, and the XO and I agree that actually in the context of HHC's vehicles, this is a priority number 2 for us to go into the bay. The way we've designed this is we only let the companies designate a priority 1, 2, or 3. More priorities than that would not be priorities at all necessarily. But this is the way that we signal to the mechanics or the maintenance control team what's most important to us if they're going to start pulling things out of the queue and pulling it into a bay. And then the other thing we'll do is we'll tag this as an unscheduled repair because it is in fact an unscheduled repair. I don't do anything else here. I don't put in a date or anything like that yet. I can put in notes if I want to. So for example, when the maintenance team wants it in the bay, maybe they contact PFC Snuffy, not Smuffy, Snuffy. We'll pull into bay, phone number is. And that way they know when it's time to pull into the bay, this is the person they need to contact to actually get it moved over into the bay or something like that. There are any number of ways that we could make notes on this vehicle, or maybe we're specifying why it's our priority number 2, or hey, we really need it by this date for this training event, or whatever. Any number of notes could go in there that are important context for the maintenance control team to know as it goes in. So once that's all done, then I, as the scout platoon leader or the XO, putting this into the queue and done. I leave it there. As the maintenance control team looks, and maybe they're starting to build out their next week or so over on the unscheduled side, and they say, okay, looks like I've got something finishing up. Today's the 9th of May, and theoretically this got finished up yesterday. Then I'll go over, I'll grab Scout 6, and I'm gonna pull it. It's not gonna let me pull it all the way over yet, so I gotta shift around here. I'm gonna take Scout 6 and just keep pulling it over until I get over to, again, we were gonna put that in bay U2. So I'll pull it over, and now it's in U2. And so what I can see is once I start pulling all these vehicles over out of the queue, I should be able to see what's in the bay, which is the topmost item, what's the next thing coming into that bay, what's the next thing after that, etc. Once the mechanic team pulls it over, the maintenance control team pulls it over, they'll open it up. They will say the day that they're going to start on it, and based on the MAC charts and all those things, we think we can finish this by next Tuesday, the 14th. And so now I have an ECD. They're going to tell me, once it's up in the bay, or once it's like actually in progress, it's in the number 1 spot up top. They'll tell me it's in progress, and then the mechanics can make any comments. So, for example, maybe they're going through and they're repairing something, and they found another fault, and new ECD is +2 days, right? And the mechanic can put that note in, and then the platoon leader can go in and say, Roger, can you move it out and pull another vehicle in, right? We don't want to waste the time with that thing in C chart for Pry 3, right? And so he's telling the team like, hey, okay, I got it. You can't fix it on time. And they went in and they updated that date. Now it's 2 more days to the right. I understand that you can't fix it. I got it. Can you do something else for me? Or is this something, you know, maybe the mechanics go in and they say to the PL, all right, please send operators to align new wheels. Right? And the point is that there's this like thread now that can go back and forth. I know these are all me, but this can be a back and forth chat directly between the people working on it and the operator of the vehicle. And anybody tagged in this task or this vehicle is going to get notifications every time there's a comment or every time there's an update to anything on this card. These people are going to get updates in their email inbox that's going to tell them there's something going on. And anytime they log in and they come to the planner, they're going to see a notification box kind of up in the corner that says there are changes. And they'll get notified that way. So, all right, now Scout 6 is in the queue. Let's assume it gets up in there and it gets completed. It will stay in an in progress status. And the mechanics will now say, all right, the repair is complete. This thing needs a road test at this stage. And so it's being kind of wacky. Let me move it back over. So I'll take it and I'm going to move it all the way over to the needs a road test column, right? And so now it's sitting in needs road test. So each day when I'm a company XO or I'm a platoon leader, I'm going to come in, I'm going to check the needs road test column and see if I own any of the things in here that need a road test. And if I do, then I know I can send my crew down, they can complete a road test. And once that road test is complete and everything's good, I'll close this out, and then I can go close out the work on the ESR with the clerks. And so this is how we kind of manage the flow and the notifications. One nice thing about this, beyond this is, if I'm a company commander or if I'm a leader that's interested in looking at the overall scheme of things, I can start to look at, what's not started, what's in progress, what's late, how many things have we completed. I can scope this because I can go in and I can actually filter this thing down by, this week. How many have we completed? How many things are late this week? They're overdue based on the dates we put on. And I can do that with custom dates if I go in as well. The other thing that I can do if I clear those filters and I look at this is I can if I go by label, I can look at, if I'm the Delaware company commander or the HHC commander, for example, for Hatchet, I can look at only what's applicable to Hatchet, right? And I can see kind of the statistics of this. And then I can look and I can actually see which, here are all the cards associated with that in each one of these. Here's what's in the queue for me. Here's what needs a road test for me. And then there's a bunch of, it looks like, stuff that's already complete and then stuff that's actually in the bays. So I can see that all in this dashboard. And then the other thing that's nice is if I go over to the schedule, and let me clear the filters. If I look at the schedule in the month, which there's a bunch of stuff hiding here, so it's actually a little bit better in the week. So I can look at the current week and I can say, okay, this is actually what's in bays potentially right now, or if I want to only look at buckets, what's the best way to do this? I guess it would be looking at the progress, because anything, that's sitting in progress. So this is theoretically what's in progress right now. So all of these should be actually sitting in a specific bay if I look at it. And it looks like every one of those is going to get completed by Wednesday. Now, if we were keeping this thing, tight, and we haven't had our weekly maintenance meeting yet, but if we were keeping this tight, what we'd end up doing today when I go into the maintenance meeting is we would end up building the queue behind this, what's coming in next, right? So we would see a bunch of other tasks. And if I'm a company, I can come into this again and I can look and I can say, okay, I want to see only the things that belong to Hatchet in here. Okay, good. All right, I know I've got a couple, looks like Scout 6. Those are actually the 2 that I just built. Was completed today, etc. So those are the ones I was building to make this. That's a little bit deceiving, but if I'm the Delaware commander and I want to look at what's in the bay, okay, good. Here's these are in progress, not yet complete. They're red because they're overdue, but I did get Delaware 2-4 completed on Tuesday. That's done. Let me look again at the, okay, what do we got in the queue? Do those make sense? Why do I have 3 priority 3s? That's problematic. Or whatever, but you can see it based on the ability to look at these different views, whether it's in the chart or whether it's the board, and then the schedule, and using my filters, or grouping things by, bucket. So for example, if I do the assigned to bucket, right, I can look at only the things that are assigned to particular officers, platoon leaders, things like that. So there's a lot of functionality to see, your automotive bays, and your automotive maintenance flow, that we just couldn't achieve looking at the ESR alone, or looking at Excel sheets, or looking at PowerPoint slides, and things like that. So that's the once over the world on what 1501st is doing with our auto bay planner. We're about 2 months into using this, and it's at least made us feel better about, it's given us some modicum of control over being able to predict and use our limited resources. I think it's been helpful, and then we certainly stand by to help anyone else on the team who thinks that this might be useful, talk you on how to use this TTP, or other things that we've been doing, and problems we've been trying to solve. Not good at anything by any stretch, just trying to do our best, and certainly appreciate the support of everyone around us, across the brigade, across the division team. And best of luck to everybody out there. Thanks for listening.